Fortinet NSE 6 Cloud Security 7.0 for AWS NSE 6_WCS 7.0 exam dumps are valid for you to pass the test. Share some Fortinet NSE 6_WCS 7.0 exam dumps here. 1. Your network connectivity issues between two VMs deployed in AWS. One VM is a FortiGate located on subnet, LAN that is part of the VPC encryption. The other VM is a Windows server located on the subnet, servers, which is also in the encryption, VPC. You are unable to ping the Windows server from FortiGate. What is the reason for this? A. You have not created a VPN to allow traffic between those subnets. B. By default, AWS does not allow ICMP traffic between subnets. C. The default AWS Network Access Control List, NACL, does not allow this traffic. D. The firewall in the Windows VM is blocking the traffic. 2. You want to deploy FortiGate for AWS to protect your production network in the cloud. But you do not need the 2417 support available in the Enterprise bundle. Which license model do you choose? A. Pay-as-you-go, PAYG. B. Bring your own device, BYOD. C. Bring your own license, BYL. D. Pay as a bundle, PAYB. 3. What is the purpose of the created as part of a FortiGate autoscale deployment using Fortinet CloudFormation template in AWS? A. To store information about varying states of autoscaling conditions. B. To store the information used for the scale set. C. To store the traffic logs of all FortiGates. D. To store the firewall policies used by all FortiGates. 4. An MSSP deployed 16 FortiGate VMS with the default AWS security groups and network access lists using an on-demand license from Amazon Web Services, AWS Marketplace. They are using a third-party configuration backup application to backup and track changes for the FortiGate configurations. It can connect to the FortiGate devices using only the SSH protocol. A customer is using the correct username and password configured on the FortiGate devices. But they are unable to log in using the SSH protocol. What can be the reason why this authentication is failing? A. The default AWS network access list for FortiGate does not allow SSH. B. The AWS key is required to log in to FortiGate using SSH. C. AWS uses non-standard SSH port 1025, and the default AWS security groups and NACL for FortiGate are not configured for the port. D. The default AWS security group for FortiGate does not allow SSH. 5. Which three statements are correct about VPC flow? Choose 3. A. Flow logs can capture real-time log streams for the network interfaces. B. Flow logs do not capture DHCP traffic. C. Flow logs can capture traffic to the reserved IP address for the default VPC router. D. Flow logs can be used as a security tool to monitor the traffic that is reaching the instance. E. Flow logs do not capture traffic to and from 169.254.169.254 for instance metadata. 6. A customer deployed Fortinet managed rules for Amazon Web Services, AWS, Web Application Firewall, WAF, to protect web application servers from attacks. Which statement about Fortinet managed rules for AWS WAF is correct? A. It offers a negative security model. B. It can provide Layer 7 DOS protection. C. It can provide IP reputation, WAF subscription FortiGuard. D. It can perform bot and known search engine identification and protection. 7. How is traffic failover handled in a FortiGate active-active cluster deployed in AWS? A. The Elastic Load Balancer handles traffic failover using FGCP. B. The Elastic Load Balancer handles bidirectional traffic failover using a health probe. C. All FortiGate cluster members send health probes using a dedicated interface. D. All FortiGate cluster members use unicast FGCP _. 8. A customer deployed an HA cloud formation to stage and bootstrap the FortiGate configuration. Which AWS functions are used by FortiGate HA to call the HA failover? A. AWS Lambda functions. B. AWS mapping functions. C. AWS S3 functions. D. AWS DynamoDB functions. 9. You want to deploy the Fortinet HA Cloud Formation template to stage and bootstrap the FortiGate configuration in the same that you created your VPC, which is Ohio US East 2. Based on this information, which statement is correct? A. You must create an S3 bucket to stage and bootstrap FortiGate with an FGCP unicast configuration in the Ohio US East 2 region. B. You must create an S3 bucket to stage and bootstrap FortiGate with an FGCP multicast configuration in the Ohio US East 2 region. C. You must create an S3 bucket to stage and bootstrap FortiGate with an FGCP unicast configuration in any region. D. The Fortinet HA Cloud Formation template automatically creates an S3 bucket. 10. Which two statements are correct about AWS Network Access Control Lists? NACLS. Choose 2. A. NACLs are stateless. Responses to allowed inbound traffic are subject to the rules for outbound traffic. B. An NACL has separate inbound and outbound rules, and each rule can either allow or deny traffic. C. By default, each custom NACL allows all inbound and outbound traffic unless you add new rules. D. VPC automatically comes with a modifiable default NACL, and by default it denies all inbound and outbound IPv4 traffic.